Which verse number is it? 61? Chapter 47? Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Asamaho charane nujusham aham cham. Asamaho charanade nujusham aham sham. Vrindavane kimapi gulma lato shadhim nam. Vrindavane kimapi gulma lato shadhim nam. Yadustyajam svajanamarya patam chahitva. Yadustyajam svajanamarya patam nahitva. Bejur makunda padavim shruti vimringyam. Bejur makunda padavim shruti vimringyam. Asam aho chanadare jushang aham sham. Vrindavane kimapi gulma lato shadhinam. Yadustyajam svajanamarya patam chahitva. Bejur makundam padavim shutibhir vimringyam. Asam aho chanararenu jusam aham cham. Vrindavane kimapi gulma lato sadhim nam. Yadustyajam svajanamarya patang chahitva. Bejur makunda padaving shutibir vimrinjam. Ringam. Shadim nam. Yadustyajam svajanamaya patam chahitra. Bejur makunda paravim shutibir viringyam. Asamaho chanararena jasamaham cha. Vrindavane kimapi gulma lato sadhimba. Bejurmakunda Padavim Shutibir Vimringyam Anyone else? Asam of the gopis. Aho, O, Charanenu, the dust of the lotus feet. Jusam, devoted to. Aham Sham, let me become. Vrindavane, in Vrindavan. Kimapi, anyone. Gulmalata Aushadinam, among bushes, creepers, and herbs. Ya Dehu, Dustyajam, very difficult to give up. Swajanam, family members. Aryapatam, the path of chastity. Cha, and Hitva, giving up. Bejuhu, worshipped. Mukunda Padavim, the lotus feet of Mukunda, Krishna. Shrutivi, by the Vedas. Vimrigyam, to be searched for. Translation. The gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members who are very difficult to give up, and they have forsaken the path of chastity to take shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, Krishna, which one should search for by Vedic knowledge. Oh, let me be fortunate enough to be one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan, because the gopis trample them and bless them with the dust of their lotus feet. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The word meanings and translations for this verse are taken from Srila Prabhupada's English rendering of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila, chapter 7, text 47. Sri Uddhava here shows the perfect Vaishnava attitude of humility. He does not pray to be equal to the gopis in their exalted stage of love, but rather to take birth as a bush or a creeper in Vrindavan, so that when they walk upon him, he will get the dust of their feet and thus be blessed. The shy gopis would never agree to give such blessings to a great personality like Uddhava. Therefore, he cleverly sought to get such mercy by taking birth as a plant in Vrindavan. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Paramanandamaravam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. So, Uddhava was sent to Vrindavan by Krishna on the pretext of giving a message to the gopis and the inhabitants of Vrindavan who were feeling such separation from the association of Krishna. But the other purpose Krishna had of sending Uddhava, because Uddhava was living in Dwarka, and he was a great devotee of Krishna, and he had experienced love, prema, but the prema that he had was situated in Aishvarya. Because in Dwarka, Krishna is the king, the Raja. And so he's very opulent. Dwarka is in the ocean and it's surrounded by water and so many palaces. And Krishna has there in Dwarka 16,108 wives, and Krishna has for each wife 16,108 palaces. Today anybody can keep one palace is a very great person. It's 16,108 palaces. Krishna is known as Yogeshwar, the master of all the yogis. Yogis have some mystic powers. One of the mystic powers of a yogi is that they can expand themselves, right? A yogi can expand himself 5, 6, 7 times he can expand. But the yogis, the power that they can develop is that each expansion has to be doing the same thing the other expansion is doing. But Krishna, when he was in Dwarka with his 16,108 queens, he expanded himself 16,108 times, and each expansion was doing something different. And Narad Muni, when he went to Dwarka, he wanted to see how each expansion was dealing in his palace. So Narada Muni's like that. He's called the Transcendental Spaceman. He moves around a lot, right? He goes to different places. One time in London, when Srila Prabhupada first came to London, he was in one hall. I forget the name of the hall. Anybody remember the name? Huh? Conway? Conway Hall, right. So Jamuna Mataji tells in her book about this particular time. And so they were on the stage, the devotees were on the stage, and Prabhupada was about to give a lecture, and they were doing kirtan. Jamuna was leading the kirtan, playing harmonium, chanting Hare Krishna. And then, all of a sudden, Srila Prabhupada became very ecstatic, and he stood up. And when Srila Prabhupada stood up, the whole audience stood up and began chanting, and then the devotees became even more ecstatic. And the devotees got off the stage and started to dance with the public, right? The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And Prabhupada was looking off at the back of Conway Hall, and he began to chant something else, another mantra that Jamuna didn't know and never heard of before. And later on she understood what it was. Prabhupada was chanting, Narada Muni Bhajavina Radhika Ramana Namane. And Prabhupada was extremely ecstatic. So later on, Jamuna went to Prabhupada's quarters in Soho Street. No, I'm sorry. At that time, the temple was in Berry Place. Berry Place. I had the good fortune of visiting Berry Place while the Radha Landaneshwar was there in 1977. It was kind of like straight up. The stairs were just straight up. I guess it would be something similar to living in a submarine or something. And even the temple room, Shyam Sundar had made it, the inside of the temple room, it kind of looked like a boat or something with the redwood timber that he brought from California. But anyway, Jamuna went to Prabhupada's quarters after this program, and she asked Srila Prabhupada, what was that you were chanting? And Srila, what happened? And Srila Prabhupada said, oh, you didn't see? See what? And Srila Prabhupada replied that Narada Muni had come to see the Malechas chanting Hare Krishna. So there was one devotee, and Prabhupada said Narada Muni can come. He's a transcendental spaceman. He can come wherever he likes. So there was one devotee, Sankirtan devotee. His name was Buddhimanta. And Srila Prabhupada had published the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and even the Krishna book was published. And Brahmananda Prabhu explains how the Krishna book, he personally brought it from Japan, a box of Krishna books. And Dynapon would publish one book for a personal copy of Srila Prabhupada that had gold leafing on all of the pages. You know, the book was there, but if you looked aside and see the pages, it'd be gold. That was Prabhupada's copy. So they presented it to him at the, I think it was the Rath Yatra that they were having some function. And Srila Prabhupada was appreciating the Krishna book. And he immediately sold that copy. That was his personal copy, he sold it. Okay? And he was encouraging the devotees to sell books, but not so many books were actually going out. The go-down was full and some books were going, but not so many. Now there's one particular devotee, his name was Buddhimanta Prabhu, and he, SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple, SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. So the devotees were out on Harinam. They pulled in a gas station and filled up the tank, right? In those days, gas was only 25 cents a gallon. Now it's $5 a gallon. So after they filled up the tank, Buddhimanta convinced the gas station attendant that instead of taking money, he should take the Krishna book. So the gas station attendant took the Krishna book instead of the money. So this inspired the devotees to make an effort, and they were going door to door selling Krishna books. And the inspiration for Buddhimanta to go out every day, when he heard that sometimes Narada Muni, he can come in a disguise just to see different things, like he did when he went to Dwarka. Nobody saw him there, but yet in each of the palaces he was going and seeing that Krishna, in one palace he was playing chess, in another palace he was playing with his children, in another palace he was discussing with his wives, but nobody saw Narada. He can, disguise himself. So when Buddhimanta heard that, he thought his inspiration to go out every day was, today, maybe I'll meet Narada Muni. So that's what got him to go out on Sankirtan. Krishna book has this pastime. Of Uddhava coming to Vrindavan, and it's a very confidential, ecstatic pastime of the Lord. Uddhava has come to give the message from Krishna to relieve the separation, the pangs of separation. The inhabitants of Vrindavan were feeling, especially the gopis. The gopis, bereft of Krishna, they didn't know what to do. Krishna was everything for them. As the verse describes, they had given up everything for Krishna. Lord Krishna also wanted Uddhava to understand the mood of the gopis, to understand the mood of their devotion to him. Krishna Prema is one, but at the same time, there are different moods of Krishna Prema. The mood of love for Krishna that Uddhava had was not the same as the mood of love that the gopis have for Krishna. And when Uddhava saw the intensity of love that the gopis have for Krishna, we can understand, he could understand their supreme mood of surrender to Krishna. Totally surrendered. And so therefore, the gopis' love for Krishna is not some mundane attraction that boys and girls have for each other. And unless one is properly purified, properly trained in devotional service, one will make a mistake in trying to understand the mood of the gopis and their love for Krishna. No doubt they'll make a mistake. Because when Uddhava didn't understand, and he was, Krishna's constant companion in Dwarka, but he didn't understand, what is the chance of an ordinary soul understanding the love of the gopis for Krishna? Therefore, Srila Prabhupada advises one has to be very careful. He said, you can read the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis, but if you become lusty, then you don't read anymore. become purified to understand. Otherwise, people will take it as a cheap thing, ordinary thing, as do the Prakrita Sahajas in Vrindavan. They are thinking, oh, you are Gopi, I am Krishna, let us enjoy. Such nonsense is going on in Vrindavan. So Srila Prabhupada used to tell us, you don't need to go outside the walls of the Krishna Balaram Mandir. Just stay in the temple and chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Even the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan were advised by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be very careful in associating with the Brijvasis, because they're difficult to understand their mood. Of course, in those days, that was a positive. Their mood was a positive sense. But nowadays, there's a lot of things going on in Vrindavan. So, association is a very important aspect of our development in Krishna consciousness. Sangat sanjayate kama. By association, you will develop desire. Kama, desire. Just like we see in the business world, people in one business, they associate with one another for the advancement of their business. So you have the Diamond Merchants Association, the Transport Owners Association, big book like that, right? So they associate with one another, and that way they they learn from each other how to increase their business. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada started the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So there would be association, right? So that the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness could increase their Krishna consciousness by Krishna conscious association. Right? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that organized religion is the worst thing in the world. Organized religion, worst thing in the world. But yet, we see the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. What is it? It's an organized religion. So how is that? Unless you have organization, you won't have preaching. For preaching, you require organization. Therefore, we have this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It's organized. But we have to be careful, because there's some drawbacks. You can be in an organized religion and miss the goal. Miss the goal. As followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we're meant to spread Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given the instruction, wherever you go, whoever you meet, give them Krishna consciousness. But at the same time, we may become diverted. We could enter into a diversion. Of course, there's Maya, the attraction of the opposite sex, right? Man for woman, woman for man. That's one obvious diversion that's there. That's the gross diversion. Krishna doesn't need to have bars or shackles on the living entities in the material world because they already have the biggest shackle, which is the attraction for the opposite sex. It's a very strong rope that we're tied to in this material world. Therefore, the regulator principles are there, no illicit sex life. But there's, subtle forms of illicit sex. And one can get waylaid by those subtle forms just as much as the gross form. What are the subtle forms of sex life? Huh? Labh, puja, pratishta. Labh, puja, pratishta. The desire for many followers. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundari. Many followers. Just like some Bollywood actor, they have a fan club. They have many followers, right? They become very popular. Right? And they become so popular that just if you use their picture on an advertisement, they will charge 10 crores of rupees. 10 crores, just to use their picture. And if the famous person actually speaks something, then more. Why? Because they have so many followers. So many followers. So, somebody like that has so many followers. And we could become diverted also, but like that, by having followers, right? So a devotee sees in a very different kind of way. One who's actually a Vaishnava. We see here in the mood of Uddhava, he wasn't thinking that I'll work real hard, I'll do, a lot of devotional service, and I'll become a gopi. Was he thinking like that? No. What was he thinking? We see here from this verse, he's hoping to become a Oshodi. What is that? It's an herb. Jarabuti, they say in Hindi, right? Jarabuti, herb, Oshodi, right? Kripa, or a blade of grass. Why? Why he wants to be a blade of grass? You should be the GBC or a temple president or... No? Why a blade of grass? Why a blade of grass in Vrindavan? Because he felt that in this way he'd get the opportunity to get the dust from the feet of the exalted gopis. If he just went to them and said, "Can I get the dust of your lotus feet?" would they give it? They'd never give it. Very shy village ladies, right? Even today, if you go to the village, ladies are very shy, right? They cover their face in front of some unknown man. They won't show their face. Very shy. So the gopis are like that. Of course, they're not so shy with Krishna, but with anyone else they would be. So Uddhava knows that. Therefore, he's thinking of a way, how can I actually get the dust of their feet? Become a grass, become a kripa. There was one devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu named Jaru Thakur. So Jaru Thakur was very interested to get the remnants of as many Vaishnavas as he could. The associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Chaitanya Parishad. So he would devise ways and means to get the dust of their feet or their remnants. And there was this one particular devotee of Lord Chaitanya, but he was very careful not to give his remnants to anyone because he felt himself low. He felt himself not qualified. He felt himself not a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, so why I should give my remnants to anyone. But Jaru Thakur, he thought, nah, I have to get this devotee's remnants. So what he did was, he brought some mangoes. Mango season, when like now, mango season, and the Apus mangoes are there. How much is it? 1,000 rupees a dozen or something, right? So he brought these mangoes to that devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that devotee offered the mangoes to Krishna and ate those mangoes. And the peels he threw outside, right? And Jaru Thakur was waiting for the peels. And when they threw the peels, he grabbed those peels and began to eat them. And that devotee was, no. This is a Vaishnava. This is humility. Right? And it's also a greediness. It's actually greediness. The devotee is greedy. For what? For the mercy of other Vaishnavas. Just like a businessman in the business world, they become greedy for profit. Sabse badi rupya, paisa. Right? That's their greed. But not for a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is greedy after mercy. They want to get the mercy of the devotees. How to get the mercy? They're scheming, just like a businessman is scheming. Okay? So the devotees of the Lord, they're also scheming. How to please the Vaishnava. No one ever got back to Godhead. No one developed love for Krishna without first obtaining the dust of the feet of the Mahatma. Mahatma is not something rubber stamped. This Mahatma, that Mahatma. Mahatma. Maha means great. Atma means soul. Great soul. Great soul is a great devotee of Krishna. Mahatmanas tumam parta thaivim prakriti ashrita. The Mahatmas, they're attached to the Lord and the different manifestations of the Lord. Their attachment is to the Lord's prasadam. Right? The Lord's prasadam. I know when I first joined the temple, you never thought of leaving the temple because the Sunday feast was always coming. And in those days, where would you get samosas, yellow pushpana rice, and paneer sabji, and these things were unheard of in the West at that time. And the piece de resistance, they say in French, was the sweet rice. Halava. So some devotees are attached to the Lord's prasadam. Attachment to the Lord's farm. Krishna comes so beautifully dressed with beautiful garlands, and we see the Lord, and that impression can stay with us all day. This is Krishna consciousness. And the Lord comes in the form of His holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Becoming attached to the different manifestations of the Lord, His form, His prasadam, the holy name, is very good. It will help us to advance. But what can help us even more and more quickly is to engage others to help them appreciate. Give the holy name, give the Lord's prasadam. This will help us very quickly develop in our Krishna consciousness, to help us to see the falsity and the misery of this material world, and to give up the idea that somehow I'm going to be happy here in this material world. The devotees are akinchanasya. They don't have any attachment to this material world. They're only attached to Krishna. So Krishna is very kind. Krishna is ready. See how he's helping Uddhava? Uddhava had Krishna prema, but he didn't have that Krishna prema. He wanted him to, appreciate the level of higher devotees, the prema that they have. So we're all on some level of attachment to Krishna's form or His name or His prasada. Okay? But we need to advance. We need to understand more how this place is a place of misery and not a place of enjoyment. And we need to appreciate more by the association of devotees. Where is our real home? Where we really belong, and how to get there. So I'll stop there, and if there's any questions, we can try to answer them, or some comments.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for a nice class. Especially your point about if Uddhava can commit mistake of not understanding properly Gopi's love, what about us? That is a very good point. In this regard, the verse which says that they have given up the affection for family and regulative principles of Vedas. In this regard, Srila Prabhupada writes in one purport that who can serve better than Gandhi, the country? But in reward, he got a bullet. In the material world, people are praised if they have family affection, or such a great son, or a great husband, or a great brother. But Prabhupada says it is a disqualification in spiritual life if somebody has family affection or love for the country and all. Exclusively, they should have love for Krishna.
It certainly is a distraction if you are able to remain without family life, that's very good. Like brahmachari life. But most of the population is not possible. And generally people go through the stages. Brahmachari life, student life, household life, vanaprastha, and renunciation. Right? Generally, this is the process, because the goal of the human form of life is to become free from this attachment, any attachment to this material world. Remember, there's this one Gaudiya Mat sannyasi, lives in Mayapur. He's in the Gaudiya. I used to meet him sometime. He's an old man, and he was living in the mutt there, I think Madhav Maharaj's mutt. So I was talking to him one time. He only knows Bengali, can understand some Bengali. But he was telling me how he told his servant he would bring him some prasadam in a container. And then he would tell his servant, you wash that container and keep it outside, because I don't want any attachment. Even for a container, no attachment. Keep it outside, not inside. He only wanted to think of Krishna with no distractions. So the less distractions we have, the better, right? The easier we'll, please don't sit like that. If it's a problem for you to sit, you can sit in a chair. But in the Nectar of Devotion it says, don't hold your knees while you're sitting in front of the Lord. Don't mind. Always better to have as least attachments as that you can have. And the Varnashram system is for that. Go through the ashrams, but gradually become free from attachments and become attached to Krishna. How will you become free from attachments unless you become attached to Krishna? If you can, otherwise it's artificial, you know. The simultaneous detachment from the material world is equal to how much you're attached to Krishna. Right? Otherwise, what is the meaning? It won't last. It's artificial. If you have strong attachment to Krishna, then you'll become callous to all the attachments in this material world. It doesn't mean one will not perform their duties. One of the things mentioned in Nectar Devotion is you should attend the ordinary dealings. Be attentive to the ordinary dealings also. So that is there. And certainly if there's householders who may be having family, but their goal is that their dependents, wife and children, should become devotees of Krishna, then that is also Krishna consciousness. That is also bring one to the stage of elevation. The mic. You got to be fast with the mic.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Regarding these organized religions, so we have this organized religion especially for preaching. But as you mentioned, this Puja, Pradishta, Labh, in the name of preaching, so initially we get the devotees to Krishna, to ISKCON, in organized religions. But after some time, we observe that this Puja, Pratishta, Labh comes up. These devotees are mine. They should serve in this way. So how to, in organized religions, how to tackle this?
What was that?
In organized religions,
No, I understood that, the last part.
how to tackle
How
this?
to tackle. Well, we try to bring people to Krishna consciousness. And what does that mean? It means that we influence them, that they will organize their life in such a way that they'll think of Krishna. It means that they'll chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. It's like if someone is in the well, you can throw them a rope to get out. But then they're on their own. They have to be able to grab the rope and hold on to it to get pulled out of the well. And so the onus is on every, just like Prabhupada says, when you're learning how to be a pilot, but at some point, it no longer becomes a demonstration. You're on your own to fly the plane. And when you're up in the air, none of the other pilots in their planes can help you. You have to fly your own plane. So you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. In the same way, try to bring people to Krishna consciousness, and obviously there'll be ups and downs. They may become diverted, but we try to remind them about the ultimate goal and the path to get there. That's what we can do. The rest is according to their own fortune and the mercy of Krishna. But at least as devotees, we should try to be merciful, be compassionate. Just think about how compassionate Srila Prabhupada is to tolerate so many things. Right? And Krishna will help. Krishna is more concerned about their advancement than they are. And he can arrange things in such a way that they'll be forced to become advanced. Srila Prabhupada says that about his own life. His idea was, Srila Prabhupada said, my idea was, I become a very rich man and engage all that money in the service of preaching. But he said Krishna had a different idea. I lost my business. I was destitute. He gave up his family, he said, but just see, Krishna, he gave up his, family members to spread Krishna consciousness on the order of his Guru Maharaj. Prabhupada said that his Guru Maharaj used to come in a dream and said, come, take sannyas. And he would wake up terrified. Prabhupada would say, I was terrified. Take sannyas? I have to leave my family to serve Srila Bhakti Siddhanta? Terrified. But he came again in the dream, said, come, come. And the things worked out that he really didn't have any choice, in one sense, right? And later on, when Srila Prabhupada started the movement, he said, just see how Krishna is. I gave up my few sons and daughters, and now I have so many sons and daughters that are willing to even die for me. So Krishna, when he takes things away, even no matter how many hands you have, you don't have enough to try to keep it. He'll take it. And when he wants to give you something, no matter how many hands you have, it won't be enough to take it all. So the goal is to keep focused on the process, and that in this age is specifically the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then all these unwanted things, the diversions that can be there, will go away, and Krishna will help us get on the right track.
Hare Krishna. Initially, we cannot feel that taste toward holy name.
Taste,
Yeah.
no taste.
So mind by default wander toward name, fame, pujala, pratishta. Sometimes it is very difficult to continue without that expectation of name, fame, pratishta.
Okay, you go for it. Name and fame, la puja pratishta. Go for it. But you won't be happy. And the thing is, if you continue to chant the name, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. One day we'll understand. Hare, this puja, la pratishta, kuch bhi nahi hai. Ye kachra hai. But it may take some time. So in the meantime, you do your service for some material thing. I'll get the Maha plate, or I'll, people will think I'm a great speaker and tali bajayega, aisa, sochega. But we'll become purified slowly by chanting. If you read Shastra, just like in this verse, we see Uddhava, he wasn't trying to be anything. He was trying to be under the feet of the advanced devotees, the gopis. So we can learn from Shastra. What is what? What is real? What is bogus? What is a diversion? If we read Shastra and associate with the devotees. But if we leave the association of devotees, if we don't read the Shastras, if we don't chant the holy name, then there's no hope. So whatever it is, whatever we may desire, we should continue to do devotional service. And Krishna will make arrangements for us.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Nice, very inspirational class. Prabhuji, my question was same as both asked. That in that I want to add that in organization, when we become leader, then these evils like Pujala Pradishta, they hunt more for leader. So in your case, we see that you have led many devotees. So what in your personal life it helped to remain sadhu and simple, even though you led organized such devotees, organized such organizations?
So what are you saying? That it's better to live in Radhakund or something and put Radhakund tilak and lungi? Is that what you're saying? Simple? Huh? What are you saying?
I just wanted to know that you
We
not.
should be simple,
Yes.
but that doesn't mean go to Radhakund. It means you stay here and preach Krishna consciousness. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was told never go to Calcutta by his Guru Maharaj, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. But after some time, what did he do? He went to Calcutta for preaching. So preaching is a very powerful authority, medicine. For one who hears, they are benefited. The one who's speaking also benefited, even benefited more than the hearers is the speaker. benefited not with labh puja pratishta, but benefited by parivartan, pavitra, means change and purification. So that we have to continue. We have this organized religion for preaching. And we need to preach because people are suffering. They have no idea what is what. Right? So we should, in our own Krishna consciousness, read Srila Prabhupada's books carefully so we'll know and we'll be able to guide others. And all these diversions that are there to take us away from Krishna, we always have the devotees to tell us, hey, Prabhuji, you're in Maya. Who will tell you? Devotees will tell you. Hare, don't be so puffed up. Be humble. Right? They'll tell us. So we keep association with the devotees for that reason. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, one who criticizes me is my best friend. One who's giving glorification, be careful. Stay in association with devotees. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So initially what happens, we are simple and we are not duplicitous. So after some time...
So don't become duplicitous and remain simple. Very simple. Don't become duplicitous and remain simple. Showing one thing on the outside, doing something on the inside, it's not good. Drinking water underwater on a fast day, don't do like that. Be simple. Be honest with yourself and with others.
How to develop that quality?
Chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. And if you're others who you associate with, they're sent by Krishna to give you a clue. Right? The other devotees, they're sent by Krishna to give you idea. What you should be doing, what you should not be doing. They will help you. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.